everyone, my name is Josh and this is WHIMS The Shadow-Wall Truce Musings, and today I have a reading for you on a story or a children's story or something that I'm planning to turn into a children's story. This is basically just the first story of many, and I'm going to read you the first few chapters of a story called The Shadow-Wall Truce, which follows a family of red foxes, basically two brothers named Daigon and DreamWalker. DreamWalker is a blue coat or a blue fox, and he lives in a family of red foxes. And the entire hook of the story is basically where did he come from, what was his world history. And this entire series is just basically a series of modern day tellings of animals, going about their daily lives, but there's an entire history and an entire mythology behind this very, modern day society of animals coexisting with each other without the construct of predator and prey. So yeah, it's basically like Zootopia, but with much more, depth and, mythology, essentially. So this is my version of that particular story. So, and it's much more darker in places, but it's not too dark. It's much more, accessible, but I'll let you be the judge of that. So let me know what you think of this story in the comments. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you like it. And I'm only going to read you the first few chapters because those are the only those are the only chapters that I've written so far. But if you like any of the story, please let me know in the comments what you think. And if you would like to see more of the story or hear more of the story, please let me know in the comments. And I hope you're having a very good day. Have yourself a cup of tea or anything to hand. And please enjoy the story and let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you're having a very good day. And this is the Shadow-Wall Truce. Once upon a time, there lived a family of foxes. They lived, alongside other animals, at a place called Heaver's Meadow. Their den was at the base of a tree. DreamWalker and his brother Daigon were being told a story of Velon the Brave, who led a community of animals to safety following the dominion of the Stone King. From this, Valon and his wise council discovered the Enoch, a book which foretold the destruction of the land. The only solution was to establish what became known as the Shadow-Wall Truce. All the animals came together and formed a circle, Dasher RedCoats said to his children, DreamWalker the oldest, who was a blue fox, and Daigon, as they were readying themselves to bed. "Oh, please tell us what they did, Dad," Daigon asked, so full of excitement the springs of his bed were thudding with unease. "Well, all right, Daigon, but I'll tell you quickly." The father fox made to clear his throat. Within this circle, each animal held up their hands and declared, "We stand here thus, feathered, scaled, and small. We free beings who spared the Stone King's might must take heed to comfort each other, one and all. Gone are the days of predator and prey, gone are the days of unrest. We live as one a family, with time's hand on our actions being a true test of this. Let owl and eagle protect the rodent, duck, and rabbit. Let us not fall like fools to the old ways of bitter words and habits. Let us treat our lesser and greater kin, both neighbour, fellows, and friend. This shall be the fall of our shadow wall. Let us now to civility ascend." Dasher crossed his chest with one finger and encouraged his sons to do the same. "What happened then, Dad?" Dagon asked, slipping his legs under the blankets as his father gathered his things, his glasses and a small leather book which he always kept with him during story times. Dasher slowly diminished the lamplight until there was only a flicker of colour with the swish from Dasher's tail. "Well, the animals, having repeated the words marked in the Enoch, which intoned from that hour onwards, a great change will come for the animals of the Shadow-Wall Truce." Dasher kissed Dagon on the forehead and turned to DreamWalker for the same. "What happened next, Dad? When did Valon go and lead his army to fight the Stone King?" "Dagon, my dear boy, that's coming next." Dagon's face lighted with a giddy expression. "Can we please hear of the battle, Dad? Please, please." Dasher smiled. "Indeed, I will tell you both tomorrow, but for now it's time for bed." "Oh, come on, Dad. You can tell me quickly and then I promise I'll go straight to sleep." Dagon asked. His eyes glimmered. A mad hope held in them that he could hear it told, even through the motionless knot of bedpost, the gradually muted form of his brother's cushioned head, and the shallow breathing in his prelude to sleep. Dagon kept his eyes alive with the energy of hearing yet another story. "Go to sleep, Daigon. Like Dad says, it's late and you have school tomorrow. Trust me, you'll thank me in the morning." Dreamwalker had already turned himself on his side before the room had fallen to complete darkness, so that when Dasher wished his sons good night for the final time, and upon hearing the unsatisfactory shuffling of his father's feet, Daigon was left fully awake to the dark of night. Daigon then lowered himself to his pillow, turning over on his side to sleep. His dreams were filled with the morning, the classroom alive with chatter and him being summoned to the front of the class to read. The book of the Vellon family tales, demonstrating a long-fingered smear of ink down the point where Dagon's favourite story became marked with a crease along those now frail and thin-leaved appendages of his father's tome, could be spotted from a glance as he opened it to read. Daigon cleared his throat, waiting for silence. The commander voice was now passed to him, and he revelled in it. But this was a story he found he could read without having to look at the words of the page. Confident in mastering his father's art of storytelling, he slept then, letting the moonlight dance with the shadow of oakwood fingers across the wall of his room, milk-soaked with moon tears and windy weather. He was brave like his ancestor. He was bold and unafraid like his father. He became as wise in his dreams as any wise sage in the stories of old. 2. "Boys, your breakfast is ready," Nera called as she busied herself with the buttering of crumpets. "Dagon, have you got everything for your first day, love?" "Mum, don't worry, I'll check," Dagon replied. Unzipping his rucksack, he started rummaging through his possessions. "Have you got your calculator?" "Yes." "Pencil case?" "Yes." "Lunch money?" "Yeah." "No. But it's okay. Dreamwalker said I could have some of his this time." "All right. What about your sample text for English?" Dagon hesitated, stirring in his rucksack, and when it still yielded no fruit, Nera rose with, "All right, Dagon, where did you last see it?" "In the drawer close to my bed," Dagon confirmed in a murmur. Nera rushed to the bedroom, coming back a short while later with Dagon's sheet. "Here you are, dear," Nora said, having handed Dagon the item and making him hold out his palm for a few coins. "Where would you boys be without me, eh? Now quickly, pocket them before your brother sees." Nora gave a wink to her son before planting a kiss on his cheek. "Oh, look, Dagon, your hair is in a terrible state. Here, let me." Nora tried to tidy the chaotic strands on Dagon's head, giving her practised fingers a just workout as she sifted through the loose curls. "Oh, never mind. Let's eat first, or both our crumpets will be cold." Nera pulled up a chair for her youngest as she readied the rest of the food to be plated. Then her husband and oldest, Dasher and Dreamwalker, thudded downstairs, both strangely silent as they drew up out their chairs and seated themselves at the table. "What's going on with you two, then?" Nora asked, passing round knives and forks to hand. "Nothing," Dreamwalker replied, his lips tightly pressed together as he indulged in buttering his crumpets with as little care of the noise he was making. Dasher didn't remove his eyes from his son, nor did he touch anything on the table. Dagon couldn't touch anything for fear of evoking anyone's temper. Nera, on the other hand, started to eat, the clatter of teaspoons on plates and passing teacups filling the silence. "Okay, what's the problem with you two?" Nora spoke, eyes darting from her son to her husband, leftover crumbs from Nora Redcoats' crumpets being dusted onto the floor as her eyes passed back to the two. "Do you want to tell her, or should I?" Dasher asked his son as he curled fingers over knuckles to ponder an answer. Dreamwalker said nothing. "Our son wants to know why we can't go and hunt. Seems to think it's easier said than done." Dasher didn't bother using a knife and fork with his food. Dreamwalker did the same, his temper flaring with the taking of each mouthful. "Well, he knows the stories. He should know that when we hunt those who are smaller than us, the community we built crumbles. We fell by the sword of avarice once during the time of the Stone King's tyranny." Nera gave her child the slightest of glances, then returned to her eating. Dreamwalker's eyes never left his plate. The taste of crumpets always felt bitter to him, boredom in a feathery crust and laced with butter. It was a dirty trick to say he couldn't hunt another animal, yet here they were, taking something of another to make themselves feel less guilty. Cows were animals of the old world where the titans called humankind once reigned. "I'm not the only one thinking this, you know," Dreamwalker said. "What goes on in the skies above us is no more our business than the chemistry of cloud and sun to make it rain, Dreamwalker." Dreamwalker's eyes narrowed, hardly meeting his father's eyes. Such disdain was within them. What's so bad about being feral, anyway? The sound of cutlery clashing furiously with a plate made Naira wince. Dagon jumped in his seat, nearly toppled himself backwards, and Dreamwalker kept his gaze focused ahead, staring without passion of any kind to the distance. Dasher held a pleading look in his watered eyes, still frozen with the fury of returning to feral hands. Becoming feral? If it's such a dangerous place to go, why don't your stories tell us? Dasher said nothing in reply. Or come to that, what about the stories of my family? What about telling me where I came from for a change? Noira looked to Dasher, who carved his crumpets with the laboured hands of severing a rare meat. He didn't share a glance with anyone, not even his youngest, whom he so deeply bonded with. We will talk about this later, Dreamwalker, Nira said when the air in the room was empty of voices. She reached out to hold Dasher's hand, their eyes not meeting, but the warmth was still felt. I'm not a child anymore, Dad. You can tell me. Really, Dreamwalker? Now? There was sorrow in Naira's voice as she didn't acknowledge her son with a glance. Later. Now do as I say, she told Dreamwalker with her eyes when she finally spared a moment to look at him. So that's the first two chapters of the Shadow-Wall Truce, and I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, if you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I hope you're all having a very good day. This has been Josh with WHIMS Musings and or Whims, and I hope you're all having a very good day, and I hope you're all doing very well, and let me know in the comments what you thought of this story. And if you'd like to hear more. That's all for now. Take care. Bye-bye for now.